Today we're going to do window regulators on a Gen 5. The Gen 5 door panels are the easiest door panels to get off on any Viper. There's two covers, here and here, and underneath them it's two T25 screws. So first we're going to carefully pop this cover out. There it is. This is the first cover you got to get off, and then the second one pops right up. T25, screw there, and behind here. We take the screws off, there's gonna be a hole here and a hole in there. Now, the door panel just pops out. There it is. This little tether, you're just gonna push that little edge in, and that slides out. Now we're gonna work on the door release cable. This pops upward and rotates out. The electric door release pops out. You push this little internal tab here to release it. And there's that. The window switch is down here. Now your door panel is out. All right, from here, we're gonna take this plate out. It's gonna reveal one of the window motor nuts. There's 3 nuts in total to hold the motor. Under here, right here, and right here. And then you have the regulator nuts here, 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 and down underneath the speaker. And then you're gonna remove the speaker. These are 3 8mm bolts. Here, here, here. From there, we're gonna show you how to get the window out. Before we get the window motor disconnected, we're gonna make sure it's at its proper height. How you know it's at its proper height? These 2 bolts that hold the window in here will line here and here. Now we're gonna take the speaker out. That's that. Now with the speaker removed, now we're gonna pull the pin that holds the front part of the window in. Hook it and pull it. This is the pin that holds the window to the regulator. Now we need to roll the window up to access the 2 mounting bolts for the back side of the window. We're gonna roll it up so they align here and here. I pull this weather stripping out of the way. I use a magnetic 10. It makes life a lot easier to access these. If you have it, use it. Make sure you support the bottom of it. Comes out just like that. Now the final step is releasing the front part of the window. You're essentially just gonna pry the window from the regulator with your hands. Now we're gonna pull this bracket to reveal one of the motor nuts. You're gonna use a T25. These are the 4 little screws that hold that bracket in. Now we're gonna pull the motor and regulator assembly. First we're gonna release this. This holds the electrical connector. Pop that out. 2 nuts for the back part of the regulator. Now the 3 for the motor. Now the 2 for the front part of the regulator. And of course the studs coming out. Now the whole assembly comes out. Push it forward slightly. Be mindful of the cables that are in there. There's one. There we go. So typically there's studs like this that mount the regulator to the door. I have stud removers. If you don't have these, usually 2 nuts, 6x1. If you jam them together and hold them on the back side of that, that'll hold them and you can get the nut out. So essentially this will act as 2 normal 6x1 nuts. So you can kind of get more leverage on it. I'm just gonna screw this on the back side of the stud, tighten her down and get the nuts off. That should hold that pretty sturdy. Now it's separated. If you run into that issue, that's one way you can do it. So if you don't happen to have 2 6x1mm nuts laying around, and you have a set of Allen keys, 3mm Allen that slots into there, put your wrench in, you can get it out that way as well. Now we're gonna put this back in the regulator. Perfect. We're gonna get the last one out and then we're gonna get the new one in. These typically don't always come out, but cases like this, sometimes they do. It's good to know how to get these out of the door. This is the front part of the regulator. On the passenger side, I'm just putting this mount stud back in. Now that we have these 2 on the bench, I'm gonna show what our good friends at Power Window Repair in Arizona really do for these regulators to make them more robust. This is the factory one. Typically the cables tend to break along the plastic here. So as you can see, the cables are a lot more robust. It makes it a little bit more difficult to get into the car, but honestly it's worth it because the product lasts so much longer, it's a lot stronger. Now we're gonna get this in the car. As I mentioned, these cables are a lot more robust, so it does make it get into the car a little bit more difficult. You just gotta be mindful of the cables here, but essentially the front part of the regulator is gonna go in, motor's gonna follow, back track's gonna go in right behind the motor. Just get that as far forward as you possibly can without catching anything. The motor portion in. You gotta get these cables to kind of flex on you a little bit. where to find their homes. There's the upper bolt, there's the lower. Put the nuts on a couple threads to keep them in place. Now we're gonna align the motor. There, and there. Grab 3 nuts. Hand tighten them. You don't want to tighten them all the way down just yet. Okay, now we're gonna do the front track. Upper nut goes here, bottom one goes here. Now with them all in, we're gonna tighten them down. Now we're gonna connect the window motor. Connect it in the clip. It's gonna go in there. Now we're gonna install the window. This is where the magnetic 10 really comes into play when you're installing this, especially if you're by yourself, because it holds it. You don't gotta worry about it falling into the door. Now's the time before you put this in to check the window bosses. These are the factory ones. These ones are in decent shape, so we're not gonna worry about replacing them with the upgraded ones. But however, if yours are looking kind of damaged and worn out, now's the time to replace these window bosses. Now we're gonna drop this window in. I usually like to start by getting front mount in first. It's a bit of a feel. You kind of have to feel for where it goes into the track. Angle it in like that. Reach through the speaker cover. You're just gonna get it so it's holding the window but not actually tight just yet. Now we're gonna slide the seal in. And then there's 3 clips, 1, 2, 3, that go into here, here, and here, that hold the back side of the seal in place. 3. Now that the window's in place, we're gonna put the vapor barrier back on. Connect the speaker. Bolt. Put the bracket back in. This holds the door panel fast to the door. Before installing the door panel, it's important to check that your pins are all in the door where they need to be. Metal clips are also in the door, and that's stuck in the bracket here. If these metal ones are in fact stuck in the bracket, you squeeze the center, that little center piece there, and pull them out and just push them back in. All right, now we're gonna make all our connections. The door cable, rotate towards the back of the door. This snaps in like this. Window switch, this connection here. And the last one on the passenger side, reconnect our tether, just like that. Now when putting the door panel in, it's important to kind of make sure all the pins are aligned before you just start whacking on it, otherwise you will break the pins. Just like Happy Gilmore says, a little bit of tappy, tap, tap, taparoo. Last 2 bolts. Last 2 covers. This one, pop it into place. All right, so now we're gonna do the relearn procedure. So you're gonna go down and hold for 5 seconds, and then you're gonna go up and hold for 5 seconds. We're gonna go down, but we're not gonna do the auto down. We're not gonna hold it. Now we're gonna do the auto up. It's important to note when you're doing the hold, make sure you're not holding the switch in the auto up or the auto down position. Otherwise it won't take. This step might have to be repeated multiple times. Sometimes it doesn't always take the first try. Trial and error, you might have to do it a few times.